Guys, back with another video for you today, and this is a video that I mentioned last week in a video for J-Scent, that I will be doing an introduction to a new house once a week. So today I have a new house on the channel that I've never spoken about called Floraiku, and they have one of the most amazing presentations for fragrances. I know it's a lot of presentation, but the fragrances are really delicious. And Floraiku comes in bento boxes, and the fragrances are like that. So today I'm going to talk about 3 fragrances from this house. I'm going to introduce 3 fragrances which are currently sold at Washington DC's Arielle Shoshana. I don't know if you guys know about this store. And the fragrances I'm going to talk to you about Floraiku are AO, In the Dark, and One Umbrella for Two. So we've got a fig, we have a fragrance that's in a Chypre genre, and another one that's a tea focused fragrance. So if you're curious to learn about Floraiku fragrances, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today we're talking about Floraiku fragrances, and these are some of the most interesting concoctions and really great smelling fragrances. I first sampled them at Harrods in London, upstairs in the salon. They had just opened up their little boutique there in the salon, and I got to smell a lot of their fragrances, and I was quite intrigued by the presentation, because this house is really known about this wonderful presentation. So I'm going to tell you about AO, I'm going to tell you about In the Dark, and I'm going to tell you about One Umbrella for Two. And again, these fragrances are currently sold at Arielle Shoshana in DC. But before we do all that, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So have you guys sampled any of the fragrances from Floraiku? Do you know about this house? Do you know the connection with Memo, Paris, and Hermetica? They are all in the same family. But these fragrances, Floraiku, have a very Japanese styling to them. And of course they come in bento boxes, and I used to eat bento boxes all the time here in San Francisco. Haven't lately, but it's a fun little concept where you have little food items that you can eat out of, and that's how they are presented. And last week we did a new introduction of a Japanese house, J-Scent, and in that video I said I'm going to be doing once a week trying to introduce a new brand on the channel. And again, today we're going in the Japanese direction again, but it's Floraiku from France. So Floraiku's fragrances are $350, and they come with 2 bottles. So I'll open this up and show you again. The presentation is like this. So you have a 50 milliliter bottle here and a 10 milliliter bottle here. Let me show you how it's done. So basically the bottle comes out like that, and this is what it looks like. So it has a very Japanese aesthetic and look. So this is the main bottle with the 50 ml bottle, and the cap comes off. AO is the fig fragrance. I really love this one. It smells really green and fruity. Let me spray some. Has a pretty darn good sprayer, and that's AO. Again, as I said, if you like figs, you gotta check this one out because it's a great fig fragrance. It reminds me of the Mediterranean. So we're left with this one when we take the cap off. So in the box there is this 10 ml, and the 10 ml goes inside this, and then I don't want to drop this box. This goes in like this. So you have a travel atomizer that you can carry with you. And then last but not least, there's another cap in here that you can put on top. So you can leave this behind and you can travel with this 10 ml. But if you don't want to travel with it, of course, this goes back on here like this. So that's what the bottles look like, and these go back in the box. So the presentation is top notch. It's pretty darn good presentation. And sometimes people say, okay, they have great presentation but not great fragrances. I think the fragrances are really awesome. They smell really great. It just depends on if you have the budget to buy something like this. And you know, sometimes when you smell something and you're like, oh my god, that smells so good, it doesn't matter how much it costs because you love the smell so much and you end up buying it. And once again, I mentioned that they are available currently at Arielle Shoshana in DC, so I have a link in the info box if you want to go check them out. You can. And we're going to start off with AO. AO is the fig fragrance, and I forgot to mention at the beginning, we do have 2 discovery sets giveaway as well to subscribers of the this channel from the USA, and that is sponsored by the USA distributor of Floraiku, and in these 3 fragrances were sent to me for this specific review video. So AO is a 2019 launch. It contains notes of mandarin oil, fig accord, and myrrh oil. So they don't list a lot of notes, but the smell is amazing. It's such a green, creamy fragrance that if you like the idea of figs and green and fruity and creamy all together, you're really going to like this one. And what I want to say about AO is I get loads of green leaves, of course the fig tree leaves, and when you smell that, it's got a very herbal quality to it. It's got bitterness to it. I get twigs in here as well. You get bitter vines, but you know, that is what you get at the very top. The fragrance settles to a wonderful, wonderful, creamy, fruity experience with minute green touches. So upon initial spray, it's completely green and bitter. You get the sweetness, it's back there, it's going to show its face, but then slowly you get more sweeter and creamier and resinous, and the greenness is in the background now, and you're experiencing the fruitiness. So not only do you get the greenness of the fig leaves, you get the fruitiness from the fruit in this fragrance as well. So here's one thing that's really, really unique about this fragrance. It's a cozy fragrance. It's a complex smell, but the wearing experience is not complex. As a smell, it's very complex and very, very sophisticated. It smells very, very expensive to me, and it smells wonderful. If you enjoy fig, you must check this out. And I recently did a fig video. I should have had this fragrance to feature in it, but at the time I didn't. But maybe in the next time I do a fig fragrances video. But anyway, this is AO. I don't know what the name means, and I don't have a perfumer for this. And so, but AO, please check it out. It smells fantastic, especially if you love this idea of a green fig that turns fruity and resinous creamy at the end. Again, it smells very complex, but the wearing experience doesn't wear complex. There's a simplicity about it, so it's a wonderful smell, but it's easier to wear, but a really, really delicious fragrance. AO from Floraiku is the first fragrance for you that I'm going to tell you about. All right, guys, AO is done. Now we have In the Dark, similar packaging and presentation. Again, it's like the Bento Box theme, and then we have fragrance like that, comes in the box. Similar idea, you've got the 50 ml and you also have the 10 ml, and you've got the cap, the 2 caps, and you can exchange them. You can take the 10 ml, carry it with you on travels, and leave the bottle behind, of course, and or just, you know, keep the bottle if you're not traveling. But what's In the Dark all about? As I said earlier, In the Dark, I feel like, is a Chypre fragrance. Chypre fragrance meaning it has bergamot top, labdanum heart, and oakmoss base, and sometimes with patchouli. But according to the notes here with In the Dark, they have peppermint, rose, and incense. But for me, I get a Chypre accord here. It smells like I'm smelling a fantastic, classic but modern Chypre fragrance, but more on the modern side, just leaning into the classics a bit. I love Chypre fragrances, just the whole idea of the oak moss, patchouli sometimes, the labdanum or labdanum, and of course bergamot at the top. But it's unique that I'm picking up something like this, but it's got completely different notes. But I can see that with the notes, they can create that kind of an accord. And rose is sometimes featured or present in Chypre fragrances anyway, so I feel like this definitely smells like that. For me, it's a green experience, rosy, very earthy, and there's like a foamy experience here. It's very bubbly and soft, even though the notes can be harsh, like incense and peppermint can be sharp and harsh. It's very, very soft altogether. There's some slight ambery touches from that labdanum or labdanum, but again, as I said, I get this foamy oak mossy experience reminiscent of some other Chypres, modern Chypres. Feels like that's present in this fragrance. And of course, modern Chypres are probably using more patchouli to replicate or create an accord of oak moss. that's what I'm getting with this one. But it's very, very sexy. It's dark, but you know, bright. It's rosy, but earthy. It's green and bergamot and slight smoky touches and patchouli. Really, really wonderful. If you like Chypre fragrances, if you love the idea of oak moss, patchouli, rose, and bergamot and labdanum or labdanum, but in the end you're smelling peppermint, rose, and incense, then check out In the Dark. It's really a great scent. I think they've accomplished something really great here, and I found that the perfumer for this one is Alienor Massenet, according to my research. And Alienor Massenet has done fragrances for Memo Paris. Now, I've done a lot of videos on the channel for Memo Paris, and she's been doing fragrances for Memo Paris, and it seems like she's doing fragrances for Floraiku. And as I said at the beginning of the video, Memo Paris and Hermetica and you know, Floraiku are all the same company. Figures that they would use the same perfumer. So check this one out if you like a Chypre Accord type fragrance that's In the Dark. And last but not least, one umbrella for two. This is the white bottle right there. Again, similar concept. We've got a white bottle this time. And I forgot to mention the beautiful artwork that's on these little caps that can be transferred to the portable travel bottle that comes with it. But again, white bottle here, and another fantastic smell. If you like the idea of tea fragrances, you've got to check this one out. But to me, this one's very, very unique. The perfumer for this one, once again, is Alienor Massenet. And the notes are blackcurrant absolute, genmaicha tea, and cedar oil. So I don't know if you guys like the idea of tea rituals and drinking tea and things like that. I'm obsessed with tea, but I was having a lot of tea when it was really cool here. We finally have summer mode in San Francisco after 2 months of really cool summer days. And right now tea doesn't sound great unless it's iced tea, but I'm into the idea of drinking tea. And tea fragrances tend to be very, very cozy and comfortable or comforting, and this one definitely does satisfy. But with this tea fragrance, I get a whole breakfast high tea kind of experience. Like you're going to a place where you're having high tea, you're being served tea, and you're also being served little nibbles and things like that. Because when you spray this one, it sprays like there's chocolate at the top, like something chocolatey, and I feel like it's the combination of all the notes together. It's creating a chocolate accord. It's almost like you're sipping tea with some nibbles of something chocolatey, cakey, or something, or you know, brownies, or like more high-end kind of pastries. You get that kind of an experience, and it's actually pretty gourmandy to begin with. So for me, with this tea experience, it's very, very like a whole tea ritual with yummy nibbles to eat. But a chocolatey tea and berries at the start with this one. Of course, you've got the blackcurrant note at the top. Almost like a morning bun with fruits and a cup of tea, or you know, a tea experience, as I was saying. And there's some green smoky tea elements in here, and that genmaicha tea definitely has smoky and toasted quality to it. More toasted rather than smoky, but you know, when you toast things, there is a slight smokiness with toasting things like breads and things like that. So here, toasted tea is what I get with this one. But in the end with this one, it becomes a breakfast in a bottle and starts smelling a bit like blueberries. Delicious. Really, really delicious tea. I'm quite impressed with the quality of the scents, and as far as the complexity of the smells. But again, with the lack of notes listed, I feel like they're not as complex when you wear them, but in the end, the smells are so sophisticated and complex that I really, really enjoy them. And it has a great, great wearing experience, and just different genres of fragrances that they've accomplished something great with it. The only thing with these fragrances is the price, but you should definitely buy samples if you can to test them out and check them out and see what you think about these fragrances. But now that I've done these 3 fragrances, I'm curious to smell some of the others, because I really do love the way they smell, and they smell fantastic. One other thing I want to mention, all the fragrances, even though they have sharper notes listed, there is a softness about them. There's a comforting wearability factor about them and easier to wear. And I noticed that the 3 fragrances I'm wearing, including the In the Dark and the second fragrance, there's a softness about them, and softness makes fragrances not sharp, of course, and easier to be enjoying them and accepting them, and enjoying a fragrance like that. Because I feel like when the fragrances go sharp, it might be a little more challenging, but the softness makes them just easier to kind of like appreciate and enjoy. That's my impression of these fragrances in this line. So I'm very, very curious to explore more with these fragrances and see what else they have, because if I'm enjoying the 3 that I've sampled today a lot, I want to explore more of their fragrances. But as I said, I do have a link to Arielle Shoshana in the info box. If you're curious to go explore them over there, you can. Now, for the sample sets giveaway, I have 2 of them to give away, thanks to the distributor of Floraiku Fragrances, who sent these fragrances to me to review for Arielle Shoshana. Let me know in the comments below which of the fragrances sounds the best to you, and let me know why it sounds great to you. And then please put your state, not put down USA like a lot of you are doing. This is a USA giveaway, so I need to know which state. Please follow directions, otherwise you won't be qualifying. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on Floraiku Fragrances, AO In the Dark, and One Umbrella for 2, and that's this one right here. The other ones are put away. Let me know what you think about this brand. What do you think about this whole concept? Have you sampled these fragrances? Do you enjoy them? Do you like the smells? Let me know if you have a favorite. Put a comment down so I can find out. Other than that, I appreciate you watching. As I said, please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.